My coworker kept his camera off for 4 years. I wish he never turned it on. The last time I saw my friend Kian's face was 4 years ago, over a plate of lukewarm buffalo wings at a bar that probably doesn't exist anymore. The next time I saw it, he was already mostly dead. We started at Keystone Data Analytics the same year, 2019. Two junior code monkeys fresh out of college, we were inseparable. We shared a cubicle wall, lunch breaks, and a profound appreciation for happy hour. Then 2020 hit, and like the rest of the world, Keystone sent us all home. The office became a grid of faces on a screen. Except for Kian. His square was always black, a name, Kian Alavis, floating in the void. For 4 years, that's all he was. A voice without a face. We'd all just gotten used to it. Then, last Tuesday, he turned his camera on. It was a mistake. I know it was a mistake because of what I saw, and because he would never have shown anyone that on purpose. Our morning stand-up was dragging. Soraya, our team lead, was doing her usual round robin. Zephyr, any blockers? Nope, all good, I said, sipping my coffee. Kian? A pause. Then Kian's voice crackled through my headset, thin and reedy. Not his usual warm baritone. The time series graphs are corrupted. The date logs are scrambled. I wrote the logging script. My problem. I'll take a look, Kian. Ping you after this. I should explain what we do. We build ultra-secure data platforms for government clients. Our latest contract was a 9-figure deal for some CIA research initiative called Project Chimera. The name was all we knew. We all had to get security clearances that felt like a digital colonoscopy. Kian, though, was different. He had clearances that made ours look like a library card. He was the only one exempt when they started forcing us back into a hybrid schedule. He was fully remote, permanently. When I'd asked him about it once, he'd been vague. Said he'd worked on some sensitive projects before, and the company wanted to keep him happy. It made sense. Kian was a genius. A ghost in the machine who could solve impossible problems. I dug into the code, found what I thought was the bug, and patched it. I shot Kian a message on Teams. Should be fixed. Check now? His reply was instant. Still wrong. Want to jump on a call? I typed, Oak. I initiated the video call, expecting the familiar black square. Instead, my screen flashed, and for 2 terrifying seconds, I saw him. The man on my screen was a hollowed-out version of my friend. His skin was gray, stretched tight over a skull. His cheeks were sunken, his lips were cracked and bloodless. But the eyes. His eyes were gone. In their place were 2 flat, milky white orbs. And there was something else. Perched on his shoulders, clinging to his thinning hair like a monstrous child, was a tiny, gnarled man. Its skin was the color of old parchment, its nose a vicious hook, its eyes 2 black, polished stones. It had its little hands tangled in Kian's hair, and it was pulling, its mouth open in a silent, ecstatic grin. Then the screen went black. Kian's voice came through, perfectly calm. Thanks for looking into this, Zephyr. The graphs are still a mess. The dates in the raw data just aren't mapping. My blood had turned to ice. My fingers were numb on my keyboard. I couldn't form a thought. I just stared at the black square with his name on it. Zephyr, you there? My mouth was dry. Sorry. Repeat that. The dates. The date is fine. The graph is wrong. I tried to look at my screen, at the lines of code, but all I could see were those white eyes and the grinning little parasite riding him. I have to get back to you, I stammered, and killed the call. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I stood up, my legs shaky, and walked over to Soraya's cubicle. She looked up from her monitor, one eyebrow raised. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. I just saw Kian, her brow furrowed. On video? He finally fixed his webcam. Soraya, he looked sick. Really sick, and there was someone else there. With him. A guest? I leaned against the cubicle wall, trying to keep my voice steady. He was sitting on Kian's shoulders, pulling his hair. Kian, he looked like a skeleton. Soraya's professional mask slipped. Concern bled into her eyes. You think he's in some kind of trouble? Abusive situation? I don't know what I think, but I can't get that image out of my head. It wasn't right. She took a slow sip of her tea, her gaze distant. We should go check on him. After work. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Yeah. Okay, good idea. We got to Kian's apartment building in the city around 6. It was one of those sterile new high-rises. I pressed the buzzer for his unit, 14B. A distorted voice came through the speaker. Yeah? Kian, it's Zephyr. And Soraya, we're in the area, thought you might want to grab a drink. My excuse sounded flimsy even to me. I'm busy. The voice was flat, empty. Dude, I saw you today. On the call. We're just worried, man. We want to make sure you're okay. A long silence. Then, it was my nephew. I'm babysitting. He likes to climb on me. Could you just come down for a minute? Soraya's voice was firm but gentle. Please, Kian. For us. Another pause. Finally, fine. When the lobby doors opened and he stepped out, it was worse. The webcam hadn't done it justice. In the harsh fluorescent light, he looked translucent. His neck was a mess of dark, ugly bruises that looked disturbingly like tiny fingerprints. Jesus, Kian, what happened to your neck? Soraya asked, her voice hushed. My nephew. He plays rough. He wouldn't meet our eyes. The person I saw didn't look like a kid, I said. His gaze flickered to me, and for a split second, I saw a spark of the old Kian, a terrified prisoner looking out from behind those dead white eyes. He suddenly lurched toward me. Can I see your phone? He whispered, his voice raspy. Sure. I unlocked it and handed it over. He turned away from Soraya, shielding the screen with his body. His fingers flew across the keyboard. He wasn't typing words, he was just hitting keys, repeating a pattern. It looked like he was typing, don't think, don't think, don't think, don't think, don't think over and over. Then he stopped, handed the phone back, and I saw he'd actually managed to type a coherent message in the Notes app. I have to go, he said, and practically fled back toward the elevators. As he turned, I saw it. A fresh trickle of blood running down the back of his neck from his hairline. What did he write? Soraya asked, grabbing my arm. I looked down at my phone, 2 words and a code. Alistair. We decided to go home, to try and figure out who Alistair was tomorrow. It felt like a cowardly, useless plan, but we didn't know what else to do. I got home around 9. I nuked some ramen and collapsed into bed, but sleep wouldn't come. I just stared at the shadows on my ceiling, replaying the flicker of Kian's camera, the sight of his bleeding neck, the 2 words on my phone. At midnight, my laptop on my nightstand exploded. A machine gun burst of Slack and Teams notifications, one after another, relentless. My first thought was a system crash, the agency screaming about downtime. I scrambled out of bed and flipped open the laptop. Every single notification was from Kian. I need to talk to you. Zephyr. Zephyr. Pick up. Zephyr. I need you. Over and over, 100 times. My cursor hovered over the call button, my hand shaking. I clicked it. His face filled the screen. Skeletal, gray. The white eyes stared into me, and the little man was there, riding him, its sharp little chin resting on the top of Kian's head. It smiled, a horrible, knowing smile. Then its mouth moved, but Kian's voice came out. The words were a deadpan mockery of my friend's tone. You should have minded your own business, Zephyr. If you or your friend bother us again, you will regret it. The call ended. The next morning, I told Soraya everything. She was pale, shaken. Should we go to HR? The police? Let's find Alistair first, I said. Chimera 3. It's the name of our project. His job application, she said suddenly. He would have listed references, maybe an uncle, a family member. She rushed back to her desk. While she was digging, an email came through from Kian. He was taking a sick day, a bad flu. A few minutes later, Soraya handed me a slip of paper with a number on it, Alistair Alavi, listed as his uncle and former supervisor on a government contract. I called the number immediately. It went to voicemail. I left a message, my voice trembling. My name is Zephyr. I work with your nephew, Kian. He asked me to contact you. He's in trouble. He said Chimera 3. I left my number and hung up, feeling a profound sense of dread. At 5, I left the office and trudged to the subway. As I walked up the steps to my apartment building, a man stepped out of the shadows. He was middle-aged, with a severe buzz cut and a plain gray suit that screamed federal agent. "Zephyr?" he asked. "Are you Alistair? Let's go somewhere quiet." He didn't shake my hand. He led me to a bench in the park across the street, away from the streetlights. "Tell me exactly what you saw," he said. His eyes were cold, analytical. I told him everything. The video call, the bruises, the thing on his shoulders. "How long has he been like this?" "I don't know. I hadn't seen his face in 4 years." He stood up. "I need you to come with me." Back to his apartment. "I need you to come with me." Back to his apartment. We drove there in his silent, sterile sedan. In the lobby of Kian's building, he hung back by the mailboxes. "I'll wait here. Just get him out of the apartment. Get him into the hallway." My stomach churned. I was bait. I went up to the 14th floor and knocked on Kian's door. "What?" The voice was muffled. "Kian, it's Zephyr. Please, just talk to me for a minute. Leave me alone." "I can't. What is happening to you?" The door flew open. Kian's hand, impossibly strong, shot out and clamped onto my arm, dragging me inside. The door slammed shut behind me. For a sickening moment, the little man's face was inches from mine. Its black, beady eyes bored into me. A wave of nausea washed over me, and a piercing shriek filled my head, a soundless scream inside my skull. I felt a pressure, a psychic prying at the edges of my mind, trying to find a way in. Then it was gone. The little man scrambled off Kian's shoulders, ran into the bedroom, and leaped out the open window onto the fire escape. "Container is breached," Alistair yelled from the hallway, his voice suddenly in my ear through a hidden comms piece I hadn't noticed. He rushed past me into the bedroom, but was too late. He came back out, his face grim, and knelt by Kian. Kian had collapsed to the floor in a heap. "He doesn't look good," I said stupidly. Alistair pressed 2 fingers to Kian's neck. His face went slack. "He's gone." I stared at my friend's body, empty, a puppet with its strings cut. I didn't know what to say. The only thing that came out was, "I'm sorry." Alistair gave me a ride home after the police, who seemed to already know exactly who he was, came and went. "Chimera 3 is a weapon," he said, staring straight ahead as he drove. "A cognitive leech, a parasitic empath. It latches onto a host, burrows into their mind, and drains them. It reads them, controls them, and eventually consumes them. It's been attached to Kian for years, slowly hollowing him out." He glanced at me. "It made contact with you. For the next few days, you need to be extremely careful. It will be looking for a new host." I spent the night in the dark, blinds drawn, jumping at every creak of the building. The next day at work, Soraya's cubicle was empty. An email went out from our director. The stand-up was canceled. Soraya was out sick. I messaged her. "Hope you feel better. Let me know if you need anything." Her reply was quick. "Thanks. Just a horrible migraine. I'll call you when I feel more human." I tried to work, but my head was pounding. A strange, pulsing pressure behind my eyes. I clocked out at 7, went home, and sat numbly in front of the TV. The pressure in my head intensified. The room started to feel like it was tilting. I went to the bathroom for some Advil. And then a voice whispered right beside my ear. Soraya's voice. "Come outside, Zephyr." I spun around. The bathroom was empty. I heard it again, fainter this time, as if from a great distance. I walked to my living room window and looked down at the park. There, under the orange glow of a street lamp, stood Soraya. The little man was perched on her shoulders, its legs wrapped around her neck. It raised one tiny hand and waved at me. I slammed the blinds shut and ran to my bedroom closet, fumbling for my phone. I called Alistair. Voicemail. "It's here," I hissed into the phone. "It has Soraya." "It's outside my building." I squeezed my eyes shut, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. My phone buzzed with a text from Alistair. 2 minutes out. Do not engage. Stay calm. I tried to text back, but my vision swam. The floor seemed to rush up to meet me. My head filled with white static. When it cleared, I was standing in the park. the cool night air on my skin. The playground was empty, silent. Above me, the city haze had blotted out the stars. It's a beautiful night, isn't it? I turned. Soraya stood a few feet away. Her eyes, like Kian's, were pure, milky white. The little man had its fingers laced into the base of her skull as if she were a marionette. So peaceful, it said, using her voice. She took a step toward me. I tried to run, but my legs were lead. My muscles refused to obey. You can't run from me, Zephyr, it cooed. I'm already in your head. I felt my own body betraying me. It was like fighting a tidal wave. I wouldn't end up like Kian. I wouldn't. I strained, pushing against the invisible force, but I was rooted to the spot. On your knees, it commanded. My legs buckled. I dropped onto the damp grass. The creature pulled its fingers from Soraya's neck. She crumpled to the ground, unconscious. It scuttled toward me, its black eyes gleaming. Now, it rasped in a voice that was all its own, dry and ancient. Let's get properly acquainted. It grabbed a handful of my hair and began to climb onto my back. Just as its weight settled on my shoulders, a high-frequency screech tore through the air, so loud and painful it felt like my eardrums were tearing. The creature shrieked, a sound of pure agony, and fell off me, writhing on the ground. Stop it. Make it stop. Alistair walked out from behind a line of trees, holding a black, cylindrical device. You've caused enough trouble, 3, he said, his voice flat. Silent figures in black tactical gear emerged from the darkness, surrounding the convulsing creature. They cuffed its tiny limbs and dragged it, still screaming, to an unmarked van. Alistair put a hand on my shoulder. You all right? Just in time, I breathed. I've been tracking you. I had a feeling it would find you. Compatible. He nodded toward Soraya's still form. How long was she connected? A day? Maybe 2? She'll probably be fine, but we need to get you both checked out. We weren't taken to a hospital. We were taken to a sterile underground medical facility at a military base. They ran tests, scanned our brains. They said I was clear, but they didn't sound convinced. They said Soraya would need to be observed for a while longer. Again, they sounded like they were guessing. The official story for Keystone was that Kian took a job in another state and Soraya was on extended medical leave. I played along. I didn't know what else to do. For a few days after, I had a blinding headache. Then it faded. But something else started happening. Time skips. I'll be making coffee, and suddenly I'm sitting on my couch, the cup half empty. 30 minutes gone. An hour. I do things in the gaps. I wake up and find I've rearranged my bookshelf. I come to in the middle of writing an email I don't remember starting. It's getting worse. But at least I'm not alone. At least I have Soraya. She called me this morning. Said she's finally out, feeling much better. We're meeting for coffee tomorrow. To talk. I'm sitting in the coffee shop now, waiting. My head is starting to throb again, that familiar pressure building behind my eyes. I just checked the time on my phone. I've been here for 45 minutes. It feels like 5. The bell over the door just jingled. I'm looking up, and I'm trying to feel hopeful. I'm trying to believe it's really her. I just hope the person walking toward my table is the same person I used to know. I hope the person she sees sitting here is still me.